the question they get is very randomized. It's not specific to any one person. I'm gonna just go down a list of questions and it's just gonna go down the row of the table. So there's no particular question directed at any particular candidate. All right, let's get it started. And what we'll start with is the opening statement from each candidate. We do have a timer. I think we talked about that too, right, Lori? Yeah. So we have Jane here who's timing, and Lori who will hold up a card saying you have a minute left, or 30 seconds left, or 15 seconds left. So you may want to, the candidates, glance over at Lori to make sure you're on time and you're finishing up in the amount of time that we're giving you. All right, so we'll start with the opening for each candidate, 1 minute each. And the timer will start when you say your first word. So Jim, why don't you start?
Everyone here shares the same goals for our town. We want great schools, care for our aging population, affordable housing, and a strong focus on preserving our natural resources and supporting our fishing community. It's also essential that we maintain a healthy balance between our summer visitors, URI students, and the year-round residents. And of course, we all want low taxes, efficient government, and solid infrastructure. The real question is, how do we get there? I'm running with a slate of 5 dedicated long-term residents who deeply understand that it means to be part of this community. We lived here, gone through the schools, watched our children and grandchildren do the same. We know firsthand the challenges and opportunities that Narragansett faces. We aren't outsiders looking in, telling you what we think you need to do. If you elect us, we will work collaboratively to achieve the goals our citizens truly care about. Will always remain accessible to you. Thank you.
Perfect.
Side time.
You have a stop sign too.
But he wasn't looking up.
No.
That's the problem. So someone nudge him.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look at the cards too. Go ahead, Rupert.
Good evening. I'm Rupert Friday. Thank you for making time to be here tonight. My family and I live in Narragansett's north end, not far from the Narrow River, and we've lived in Narragansett for 24 years. We love our town's sense of community, feeling of belonging, and natural beauty. My career has been working in public service to protect our environment and promote effective community planning. I've had the privilege of working with many communities, facilitating civil discussions about contentious issues and building consensus on a vision for their future. I want to use my experience, lessons learned, to help our town seize our opportunities and address our challenges. Thank you again for being here tonight.
Go ahead, Jill. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is it on? Oh, my name is Jill Lawler. Thank you all for being here tonight. I am running for my 4th term. The reason I'm running tonight is the same reason I ran years ago. And I walked into someone the other day when I was canvassing who reminded me of that. When I met her at the polls, she asked me why I want to run for town council. And I said, I want to protect the residents of this town and our community. So tonight is the same as in 2016 when I ran the first time. I'm here to protect the town and the residents of this town and also our sense of community. And most importantly tonight, I know I am running against a slate of 5 candidates who have said in one degree or the other that they will remove and take apart the resident-friendly proposals for zoning that we have ordinances developed in this last council. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name's Steve Ferrandi, for those of you who don't know me. My legacy goes back pretty far in the town when my uncle bought a beach house right down on Middle Road near Scarborough in 1945, just after the war ended. So I probably have one of those legacies of a lot of other people. My parents bought the house in 1960, so we've been down here ever since. I've always worked collaboratively with a lot of the neighborhood associations, and my goal is all about the quality of life. If you read my signs, it says residents first. I mean that in a way that we have to take care of our residents. The quality of life is big. You know, we have a lot of issues in town that are happening now that's changed the way this town has been in the past. Not all for the good, so I'm about the quality of life and bringing that back. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the library for hosting us this evening, and thank you to the residents for coming out to be informed constituents. My name is Ryan Torialde, and I want to be your next town councilor. I am a Boy Scout turned Eagle Scout of Troop 2 Narragansett, and a member of the Narragansett Lions Club. In college, I was a resident assistant, turned senior resident assistant, so in a sense, I've always felt called to leadership. I'm a project manager by trade, which has taught me to not necessarily be the smartest person in the room, but to surround yourself with the smartest people in the room. I like to think that I've done that with the slate and the boards that we will listen to while in office. Thank you for your time. Let's have a great event.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Lori and Nancy, for putting this forum together, and welcome to all residents here in attendance. My name is Alex Menzies, and I am a born and raised, lifelong Narragansett resident. I received my bachelor's degree from URI and earned my master's from Boston College. I have served 4 years on the Narragansett School Committee, and 2 of the recent years serving as vice chair, working hard to support our resident families and supporting our public schools. Our town supported my education, and now I ask for the opportunity to return that support to you. I am running for town council because I believe we can do better and we have to do better. I encourage that we all listen to each other more and treat each other with respect. It is healthy to express differences of opinion, but at the end of the day, we need to be able to compromise and move forward. It is my hope that we will be able to bring our community back together. Let's work together to create a future for Narragansett that works for not just some, but for all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Donna Vignelli. I'm a year-round resident living in Briggs Farm with my daughter and my 2 beautiful granddaughters. After coming to Narragansett every weekend and every summer for 8 years, I was able to fulfill my greatest dream 10 years ago when I retired here. I taught 35 years in the Waterbury Public Schools District. During that time, I became actively involved in the teachers union, and I was elected president of the Waterbury Teachers Association, where I represented over 1,500 educators. I've been involved with numerous nonprofits and currently serve my 2nd term as co-president of the Wakefield Rotary Club. Volunteering and giving back to the community is extremely important to me. I will bring to this council my extensive experience, my expertise and skills to bring residents, small business owners, various groups within the community together to initiate constructive discussion, foster compromise to ensure residents a high quality of living. All stakeholders within the community must feel welcomed, listened to, and have a sense of belonging.
Thank you. Hi. My name is Glenn Hames, for those of you who don't know it, and I think I know everybody in the room. I've been involved with the town 68 years. I've been involved with many projects for the town. Somebody told me there was no sense in me listing them all, that people don't want to hear what our old man has done in the past. But I've done a lot of things for this town, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of living in this town. I've been a Lions Club member for 55 years. I've been president of the Narragansett Democratic Town Committee for over 30 years. I'm proud of this building. I worked hard with a bunch of other people to secure this building. There's people sitting up here that fought tooth and nail against this building, and that's unfortunate. There's people sitting up here that fought tooth and nail against the high school track, which I am very, very proud of, because my granddaughter and I now runs track, and I visited a lot of the tracks throughout the state. These type of things attract young families, and that's what we have to do. We have to come up with a program to get young families here, and I've got programs that I think that can happen. People have come to me all my life and asked me to solve problems. I like to solve the problems that we are facing today.
Everybody rejoice, there's only 2 weeks left. My name is Jason Colonies, and I have a doctorate in education and leadership. I volunteered on 2 committees in Narragansett, the Economic Development Committee and the Narragansett Land Conservancy Trust, which taught me the value of civic duty and community involvement. As executive director of the Education Exchange, I lead efforts to help adult learners become lifelong learners and advance their careers. I've gained deep experience in budgeting, staffing, program development in this position. My wife and I are raising 2 daughters, ages 9 and 10, who are going through the Narragansett school system. I'm committed to ensuring our schools remain well-resourced. I recognize the need to balance Narragansett's residents, students, and tourist economies while preserving key assets like the beach and narrow river for future generations. I am now running for town council to help shape policies that reflect these priorities. I'm proud that our slate has been endorsed by the Narragansett Firefighters Local 1589 and the Rhode Island AFL-CIO. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eva Dzerzhinsky. This is I'm completing my second term on the town council. I was not going to run again this time, but then I decided last minute that I would run because there's still a lot of work to be done. We continued the work of the previous council. There were a lot of important issues, and the important issues are housing affordability and balance in this town. And we worked hard this council term to try to engage and try to impress upon people how important it is. I purchased my home in 1998, and I can't see myself doing that right now. So there's things that we need to do as a town, as a council, to put forward ordinances that will allow for opportunities and have year-round families. So I hope to continue on with the good work that we've done, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you. Lori, if I could get you to walk, oh, you're gonna pass the microphone back? That's great. Wonderful. You pass it all the way back to Jim. So this first question is gonna be answered by both Jim and Rupert.
Together?
Ready? Not together. One after the other.
Two-part harmony.
All right, talk to us about your philosophy around the structure of the town council. Please touch on topics such as how the president and president pro tem are identified, whether the town council president should receive a larger pay than other council members, and anything else that you feel is pertinent around the structure of the town council. You have 2 minutes each.
So the president of the town council is voted in by the council members. So the majority of the council members vote for one person and they become the president, and then they also vote for the pro tem. I had an occasion to be pro tem and then sometimes president when the president wasn't there, a number of times, back in 2000 to 2008. The council supposed to report or speak through the town manager and not directly to staff, people in the town hall. The town council president is the face of the town council for, you know, ceremonial issues, stuff like that. And he's the last one to vote, or her, which is kind of like a nice thing because you can see where things are going. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the question is really looking for, but
Well,
that helps.
I didn't write them, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think that
so.
they're just wondering kind of what the philosophy is around
Yeah.
the appointments.
I think Jim really hit the nail on the head with the structure of the council. You have the council president and pro tem, and they're voted on by the members of the council at the beginning, the first meeting actually. Oops. Yeah, so it's on.
It's
everyone
really,
here?
yeah.
Oh,
No.
sorry.
All right, maybe just listen to your.
So
You can start over.
by tradition, in town, I know that the town council president sort of historically has been the person that gets the most votes. And I was actually thinking somebody might ask me, so if I would support the person that gets the most votes for the town council president. And my answer to that is no and yes. And it's no if I get the most votes, because I'm not interested in being the town council president. Other than that, it's yes. And Jim mentioned that the town council hires the town manager, and the town manager really manages the implementation. The town council is responsible for making policy, and the town manager and the staff are responsible, and the departments are responsible for implementing it. And the town council members are members of some of the different committees. So there's a town council member on the Parks Board, for example. And so I know that you have a role in those committees as a member of that committee, and I think it's the liaison responsibility between the committee and the rest of the council. I think another really important role of the town council president is communications, and I think communicating what the town council's doing and why they're doing it so that the town comes along with what the town council's putting forward.
Jill, can you test the microphone, because it didn't sound like it was on.
It should be in the up position.
It's pretty low.
Yeah.
Is it
It's
in the
on.
up?
It's on.
Try now. Sounds
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
All we needed to do is have Steve or Randy touch it and fixed.
That's not usually happens.
No.
Usually a punch bag.
Okay, thank you very much. So the second question will go to Jill and Steve. And the second question is, do you think the structure of the town council meetings needs any adjustments or improvements? If yes, please tell us what you would change. Consider touching upon town council members' input in the agenda setting, availability of the agenda earlier in the week for better preparedness, opportunities for increased public input and comment, particularly during second readings, et cetera, et cetera.
I think that the structure of the town meeting is just fine. It's been the same structure for a long period of time and it works out well. The way the agenda setting works is the town council president will sit with the town manager and the town clerk and create the agenda set forward. It gets done on a Tuesday and then it's released to the public and to the town council on a Thursday. I see no need to change it. It has been working quite well. As far as public comment, the comments of the public are able to comment at open forum for 3 minutes. They can also comment at every single agenda item, so there is plenty of time for the public to comment. I see no reason to change.
I feel kind of the same way. I have a few little caveats to that. There is a structure in place right now. A lot of people don't realize that, there is a structure now, and some of that can be changed, but I don't think much of it can be changed. I think it's like Jill said, the staff members come to the town manager with the issues that they have. A lot of what goes on that council is almost mandatory from the staff. We have deadlines to meet, licenses to approve, different kind of spending comes in. So a good portion of that is about that. And I think the 3-minute rule is fine. I don't believe that, everything else that this council has had, I've been going to council meetings and it's been the same for quite a long time. And I think it's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So question 3 will go to Ryan and Alex. Question 3 is short. How will you define your budget priorities when hard decisions have to be made?
With regards to budget priorities, we need to ensure that the town functions and that our social structures and safety nets are funded and function. With regards to budgetary priorities, I think that takes the cake over all other periphery spendings. I'm not quite sure where else. I yield my time.
I think this is a very important question, and there's a lot of substance to be discussed in this question, but when it comes time to really getting down to the nitty-gritty, the most important thing to remember is that we are here to serve the residents on behalf of the residents, and we are only able to lead as well as we are able to listen. And in order for us to prioritize what agenda items to focus on, I strongly advocate for greater dialogue with residents ahead of time. We need to have more workshops to make sure that we are performing to the best of our ability. There is no unilateral decision-making when you're on the town council, or there shouldn't be. So when it comes time to prioritizing what issues to focus on, we need a plan, a well-thought-out plan, and the decisions that we make have repercussions down the road. We need to have plans that are well thought out, forward thinking, and have the opportunity to address those issues down the road. When it comes time to, for example, dredging the river, we need to have a plan that's well thought out to preserve that budget moving forward, and we need to be able to think about the issues down the road and what kind of a legacy that we want to leave our children, what kind of town that we want to leave our children years ahead. So.
Okay, thank you. So question number 4, we'll go to Donna and Wynn. So I'm told that the bike path completion has been pending since the last century. Did anyone know that? 1999, apparently. So, will you commit to extending and finishing the bike path during your term, and what route would you support?
I definitely would commit to finishing the bike path. As far as the route goes, there are several options available, and I did take the opportunity to walk from the end of the bike path where it currently ends, and to look at all the options out there as far as where the bike path can go. I personally think we should do everything we can to try to prevent it from going through neighborhoods. I know there are some objections to it going through neighborhoods. I think that what we need to do is complete the bike path with the least amount of problems that it's going to be caused for the residents. But I do think it's very, very important that the bike path get completed, and I get it down to the beach so that people can ride down to the beach and have access to the beach from the bike path.
Thank you. Wynn?
This is really not a new problem, is it? The biggest problem as far as going through neighborhoods, going through Kenosha or getting there is South County Museum. If there's any way, there's hardly any way to go without going through there. They closed those gates, it's still light out, people are still biking, there's animals and other items that can be disturbed, you know, within South County Museum. So it's a difficult situation. Do you go down Wandsworth or Othmore Street? Again, you're going through a neighborhood and you're gonna go back and come back around. There is, from my old days, and again, I'm old, but if you go down Mumford Road, there actually at one time was a path going down Mumford Road to the far left of the school that went all the way through to Wood Avenue. Nobody's really explored that, and would it affect the farm? I really don't know. But it is one option I think you could probably look at to get over there. It is owned by the federal government now as part of the Chafee Reserve, and I think you could probably work with them. But as far as going through South County Museum, I think that's a no-go. And just how do you get down there without going through the South County Museum? Nobody can come up with an answer. You know, you're not gonna send it down Kingstown Road, you're not gonna send it by the ice plant, and you're not gonna send it down, well, I don't know where you can send it from there. I mean, you either go down a road or find a back path down next to the river and bring it around Wood Avenue. I live on Wood Avenue. I don't give a rat's butt if it comes down Wood Avenue, but some of my neighbors would, so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Question number 5 will go to Jason and Emma. And question 5 is, please discuss your opinion on non-resident parking in the town beach lots. How should that work?
I think that we could probably give the beach manager more say in letting them open the parks on the non-busy days, right? And probably restricting the parking on the weekends for the residents. I think it's a pretty easy solution. I think it's a no-brainer, so I'm pretty good with it.
Thanks. So we just had a beach work session yesterday at 6 p.m. So a lot of the information was presented in terms of like parking and then just the operating budget, and it was really great to have that information to you know, going forward to really decide on what changes or if any changes need to be made. I think currently the parking as it is seems like it was working well. with the west lot for non-resident, and, what they did state was, there's over 40% of individuals who are non-residents that come to the beach. So we are a welcoming community for non-residents to the town beach. So I believe that currently the plan that we have in place is working, and then this will be discussed at a future meeting, council meeting, and it will be with the next council. So thank you.
Thank you. So this is going along swimmingly, Lori.
Yes. Thank you for being so brief in all your answers.
Yes. So question 6, again to Jim and Rupert. Question 6 is, in previous statements, some council candidates have referred to the Narragansett Town Beach as a business. The current Parks and Recreation Director often does the same, publicly saying the beach should be run as a business. The town beach is an enterprise fund, however, and the word business or for-profit is never mentioned in relation to the beach in the town charter or in the 2017 comprehensive plan. So the question is, do you believe the town beach should be run as a business? What changes would you make, if any?
I'm not sure if I've read the charter before, so I'm not sure if the charter talks about enterprise funds or not, but I know we have those for some of our utilities. It seems like it's worked out pretty good. I mean, it's a way of saving money and making it pigeonholed for that purpose. I believe there's like $5 million in the beach enterprise fund right now. I don't think that would be there probably if we didn't have the enterprise fund. It might have been used for something else. I guess if it wasn't a business, then it would be just let everybody on the beach. I think it's just Narragansett's history to keep people control the amount of people that go onto the beach. It's our beach. It's the town's beach. I think that's the right thing to do. It does irk me, like I said before, to see empty parking lots because I'm a businessman and I just feel like that's an empty house. There should be people in it paying rent, and so there should be people in that parking lot paying for parking. I'm sure that the beach manager could be given more authority to make that happen. But I don't think I would change the way the beach is run. I think it's run pretty good. I'm proud of it.
Thank you.
I don't see the beach being operated as a business. I see it being operated sort of as a nonprofit organization. And so the revenue that's generated by user fees pays for the operations. And I think a lot of people that come to the beach aren't aware of that. So I think communicating that to the people that are paying parking passes and paying for the day passes, I think would be good to do. I mean, I've lived in town since 2000, and it wasn't until a year or two ago that I was aware that those fees cover the cost of the beach, and that's how the fees are set, so that it does cover the cost of the beach. So I think running as it does as an enterprise fund, I think works well. I think the beach is also a flagship, if you will, for the town. It's our face forward to much of the public. So I think it's really important that the beach staff are friendly to people come, and I think opportunities like yoga on the beach, which is open to everybody. I think it's set up working the way it is, and I think it operates fine.
Thank you. Okay, question 7 to Jill and Steve. Aside from beach erosion, residents have voiced their concerns with other environmental issues such as water and sewer infrastructure, water conservation, stormwater runoff, polluting our waterways, as well as e-vehicle infrastructure, charging stations capacities, Please discuss what your top 2 environmental issues are and what you believe can be done to mitigate them.
Well, I think one of the biggest ones we started to look at is dredging Narrow River. And we do have a plan in place. We are gonna be working with other agencies within the state, be it South Kingstown, North Kingstown, the Dunes Club, in order to help pay for that. But it's vitally important that we open up the mouth of the river so it can actually flow in and out. It's beach erosion, but it's also the health of the river and the ecosystem. We've had a couple studies that were done by this council, the Taylor study that adds into the other Woods Hole study for the Narragansett Town Beach, which talks a lot about beach health and building on dunes. I think that we need to really extend into that more, hire on some type of a scientist to be able to help us figure out where do the dunes go on the beach, how can we best keep the beach alive and enjoyable for our community. And I see Deb Kopek's here, so the EV stations I know are very important to you. I know that at the library we did approve, I think 2 that will be coming in, so I think that we've taken care of that as well.
I also believe that the beach is our biggest asset, and that's what we really have to worry about the most. That's the signature of our town. We did have the 2 studies that we have done, which is great, and we're starting to dredge the river. With the study, there's also, we could use that as a Bible, so-called, for the next 10 years. There's a lot of suggestions within that study that was completed about, step 1, step 2, different things, the dunes, working more towards Narragansett Beach. So, we kind of do have a roadmap. That would be one of mine, the beach, number 1. Second of all, you talk about the infrastructure. This council did give the go-ahead to the one of the committees that worked on the sewer and the water infrastructure. And we hadn't had a rate increase. I know everybody's rates went up a little bit, but it was basically ready to go under. So we had a little bit of a discussion about that. And we realize that that's gonna be the future. We're not gonna be able to grow without enough water or sewer infrastructure, which is very important. So that's another area. We looked at issues about, is it being overtaxed by certain homes and things like that. So certainly those 2 are the most important, I believe, at this point. I mean, it's hard to pick like 1 and 2, but that's certainly, without an infrastructure of water and sewer and having those pipes clean. We did flush the, people who get in their mail, we did flush the tanks, the 2 tanks that we have several years ago. So those are my 2 top priorities. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, question 8. The town of Narragansett has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in litigation of the 4 unrelated, 3 student, short-term rentals and other rental regulations since 2016. If you are elected, do you see a way forward without litigation? Please discuss.
This question is in regards to short-term rentals.
It's really the litigations that's happened since 2016, which was also short-term rentals, but it's been the 3-person student, 4 unrelated. There's been several different ordinances that have been challenged, and the town has spent money litigating.
What I would say to this is I would stop trying to pass litigation that, or forgive me, stop trying to pass legislation that would get caught up in court. I'm sorry. I would work to bring down the short-term rental limit from a week to something shorter, something more reasonable, to 3 or 4 days. Additionally, with regards to the unrelated individuals, that matter has been settled by the state. That has been raised to 5 unrelated individuals, so would not continue to fight that. Listen to the populace, listen to our town solicitor when it comes to writing legislation and odds of avoiding legislation in court. I yield.
All right. Well, I'd like to think that there is a path forward without litigation. It's hard to speak on litigation that's already ongoing. We can try to do whatever we can to fix what's already been hurting this town. But I think by having strong relations with the town solicitor and really working hard on these policies and having workshops and reviewing everything and going through the proper channels, then we can avoid this kind of litigation from happening in the future. However, a sad reality facing the world today is that no matter what policy that you pass, it's always susceptible to litigation, unfortunately. I'm hopeful that with greater collaboration we can come up with compromise, and compromise is a key for the future of this town and the future of this town council, that we can lessen the amount of litigation, the amount of challenges to our policies from multiple different stakeholders. So I'm hopeful that we won't see as much litigation in the upcoming town council, but again, it's a very difficult premise to avoid, and it all comes down to having a really strong relationship with our town solicitor and with the residents.
Thank you. Is everyone hearing everyone? Okay? Okay, question 9. This is, there is a lot of talk about Narragansett's tax structure, i.e. commercial rates being different from residential rates, rental properties being taxed as commercial, homestead exemption changes. Please tell us your thoughts on the current property tax structure and any changes you would like to see.
I guess I would start out by saying, with all the canvassing that we have done and all the doors that we have knocked on, all the people I've spoken to, and since I've lived here in Narragansett, I have never really heard anyone complain about the tax structure. That isn't something that has ever really come up in conversation. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how I feel. And I think we need to continue. We may be able to look at the homestead and maybe double the homestead to have more incentive for people to do year-round rentals. I think we need to continue with the incentives that we have with the veterans and the senior incentives. They're not incentives, I'm trying to think what the word is. But the senior credits that you're given, I think we definitely need to continue with those. I don't see changing the tax structure. I support leaving it as is. And if anything, looking at the homestead and what we can do to try to increase the year-round rentals in our community.
Thank you. I'm going to read from my paper because I wrote this. So if I don't look at you, excuse me. First, I brought up doubling the homestead exemption from 10% to 20%. This is going to provide some tax relief for our residents. Next, this will be extended to landlords who rent their properties year-round. I know that people will say that certain landlords are renting their properties for $3,000 a month and don't deserve a homestead exemption. It's not aimed at those landlords. It's aimed at increasing the number of year-round rentals and attracting new residents in town. There would be conditions as subletting and length of ownership and things that would have to be worked out. But it's a beginning. Next, after Harris wins, she stated she would give first-time borrowers $25,000 toward the purchase of a home. We have a $3 million bond issue. This should be approved and designated for affordable housing. I would suggest setting $500,000 aside and match the $25,000 from the federal government. And would also talk to the state and ask for another $25,000 for first-time home buyers. This hopefully would counter the present rhetoric about not being able to afford a house in Narragansett. We already have the lowest tax rate in the state, especially to the towns surrounding us. New family mortgages will be similar or less to those surrounding towns because of our tax rate. I would also offer a $25,000 stipend to families who want to buy a house in Narragansett and move. This again would attract new families to town and give them homestead exemption right away. We have one of the best school systems and the best beaches and recreation opportunities that we have anybody in this state. Short-term rentals become a problem across the country, but harsh proposals by this council has only hurt a lot of our residents. I'd rather see a license issued for short-term rentals, and these licenses would be non-transferable. The number of would be reduced through attrition. There will be exception to residents renting rooms in their homes. Our senior population is
finish your sentence and then.
24%.
Go on.
And they need our help. Thank you.
Look up every once in a while.
I'm reading. The only one I read.
Okay, so the last question for this round, before we get to the lightning round, is what is your vision for the site and building of the former town library? Do you believe the decision ultimately belongs to the voters via placing it in a referendum?
Yeah, it should go into a referendum, certainly. But I mean, it's gonna be up to us to come up with some ideas for it to get it to a referendum, imaginably. I've heard a bunch of things. I know there's a whiteboard somewhere in this library with a bunch of suggestions on it. I've yet to see it yet. I'd like to see it. But again, this is about listening to everybody and communicating, having workshops, and coming up with the right ideas to make this happen, right? And certainly once we do all the workshops and come up with the right ideas, then it should go to a referendum for the voters. Absolutely.
So I know that we assigned a special project to the town manager. We had Mike DeLuca, who was our community development director, retired. So he didn't retire for very long. Well, he did, but we had him work on a special project and come up with an ideas for this, and we haven't seen it. It hasn't come through the council yet. But again, it's sort of like it's a white paper that he developed with ideas, and again, it will have input from the council, have input from residents, but for me, I would like to see something mixed use there, and I'm looking forward to discussing it at future council meetings and having resident input on those, but it was a project that was done, and we look forward to sharing it with the residents.
Thank you. So that microphone could make its way back up to Jim. We're gonna do a lightning round. I don't know what you think of the lightning round might be.
How long do we have?
Well, it's not real lightning.
It's just really a,
You have 10 seconds.
we're not even gonna time it. If you have to talk longer on this one, you're not. Okay, first question. Calamari or clam cakes?
Calamari.
Pass it down.
Clam cakes.
Hurricane calamari.
Calamari.
Point Judith calamari.
Calamari.
Absolutely calamari.
The state appetizer calamari, which is served to 70% of the calamari served across the United States, comes from our port of Galilee.
Calamari.
Calamari.
Keep the microphone, goes, yeah, we'll just go back the other way. So, okay, the next lightning round question. Did you get a chance to go to the beach this year? And what chair did you sit by?
I actually did not, but I usually sit by chair 2. That's my favorite chair. And we went to the beach dog beach. I do have a dog, so we had a little boat and we enjoyed the summer with our dog.